Hey y'all, Crazy Mama Kelly here, coming at you from my part of PA. Well, just got back from my vacation. Gotta tell you, Outer Banks, love it. Had so much fun with friends and family. While I was down there though, I was thinking about my, viewers and whatever. And I decided, I found some interesting books down there. And before I get into that, I found this awesome little shop I gotta give mad props to. It's called Something Old, Something New, and it takes place down. It's down in Outer Banks, Nags Head, or not Nags Head, Kill Devil Hills. And if you ever been down that way, go to their place. They're awesome people. It's a vintage, an eclectic vintage 60s, 70s shop. Anything vintage, they usually have it there. I'm gonna show you a few of the little items I purchased there at relatively awesome prices. But I want to show you these people. I mean, they got some mad stuff, crazy stuff. I love it. Just things I've picked up there. Well, when I first went down there, it was my first year going down to the Outer Banks, and I found this awesome, I don't know if you can see it real good, awesome mood ring. It's a vintage 60s mood ring. It was made in the 60s, and I found it really cheap price. And then just this year, I freaking love it, I got a couple awesome things. I got an evil eye ring. Yay! Yes, I got an evil eye ring, and I just love it. I've been looking for evil eye things. I'm sure I could find them online if I really looked hard. But in my area, you can't really find this kind of stuff, but it's a ring, and I just absolutely seen it, eyed it up, wanted it, and got it. And they had a bargain bin there. And they got a lot of cool stuff. I mean, this place is so jam-packed with things. It's awesome. Lily, I'm making a video, so stop it. It's coming. You're not going to starve to death. Kid, one of my drunken little leprechauns, she's freaking out. She wants her dinner, or lunch, and it's cooking. She's just going to have to wait. But here are these. They're freaking earrings, and they're gorgeous. I absolutely love them. They're really long, though. I think I'd have to wear them at a party or something when the kids aren't around, because I'm afraid they'd rip them out of my ear or whatever. But these are great. I love them. He had tons of these.
I'm looking at.
Okay. And then I got, because I couldn't get enough of this place. I mean, I went crazy in this place. I absolutely loved it. I got this necklace, necklace and earrings. I won't. I did already. I got that already. But got this set. I'll make it in. It's a peacock feather and matching earrings, like costume jewelry. It's $3. $3 for this. That's just crazy. Awesome stuff. And the last couple things I'll show you really rock. I mean, there's stores everywhere littered that way, but you know me, crazy mama, I like the strange and the usual, so I hunt them places down because, unique stores, you can find unique things, and that's what I love about it. This was made in India. It's a stretch bracelet. Absolutely love it. This is wood. Absolutely adore it. The last couple things I'll show you, my daughters got. So my little girls went in there with me, and they're like, Mommy, I want this. So, being on vacation, I was like, heck, why not? These are flowers with the hair tie on the back for their hair. I was like, it's probably as big as their head, but they wanted them, and maybe Mommy can wear them sometime without them knowing. But that's a cool thing I found down there, and I found tons of shells. Being a witchy poo myself, I found tons of things on the beach. A lot of mad crazy shells. I absolutely love them. But, I promised you a story, so here I am. But, if you want any of this jewelry, he has a website. I think he has a Facebook page, but it's called Something Old, Something New, and it's down in the Outer Banks, North Carolina. I think it's Kill Devil Hills. I mean, look them up, and they'll even, if you want buy something online, they'll even, if tons of pictures of the store and everything, they'll ship the stuff for you for like, I think, a $5 charge or whatever. But that ain't bad. I mean, these guys, they're awesome. I absolutely love the store. If I keep on going down the Outer Banks every year, I don't know if we will, but if we do, I'm probably going to make a stop there every year. I might even save my money to get a couple cool things. I mean, they have everything. They have clothing, they have jewelry, tons of jewelry. Oh my gosh, tons. Even out front I seen like rare bottles and stuff that you can get, vintage bottles and everything. I mean, anything vintage you can do whatever. And the really, really nice owners. I mean, I absolutely love them both. Oh God, they're great. But anyways, like I said, found a book. Now there's a guy, a local guy down there, that made it his mission to take down all the old folk tales around that area. And there are tons, folks, because, you know, the ocean usually, it's so enchanting and so inviting, and they have tons of stories. I mean, a rich treasure trove of stories down there. And I got this book, and I'm halfway through it already. I actually love it. The author's name is Charles Harry Whedbee. He's wrote a couple books about the Outer Banks to collect all these stories. They're Outer Bank Tales to Remember. You can find them. I bought this one at the aquarium down there. You can find them any little old store. You can find a Farmer's Daughter or wherever. Okay. And this, I know it's not Pennsylvania, folks, but they are cool stories. The one I really read, it caught my eye when I first picked up the book. Let me look here. I didn't make any notes because this is just fly-by-night thing. The other books this guy's wrote in is Legends of the Outer Banks and Tar Heel Tidewater, The Flaming Ship of Okeechobee, and Other Tales of the Outer Banks, and Outer Banks Mysteries and Seaside Stories. So I'd like to collect them all once I get a chance, because I just love the Outer Banks. I love my Pennsylvania people, but I just love the Outer Banks. This is called The Sea Hag, this one is. And it says it took place, I want to say Portsmouth. And what caught me from the story is because I don't know if any of you, the other pagans out there, read the story of Baba Yaga. And this is kind of like what I think is like their spin on Baba Yaga. It's kind of like an old pagan story, but they put a new twist on it involving people from the Outer Banks. And it takes south of Hatteras Island. It says that near an ancient town called Portsmouth. I don't know if anybody knows about this, but down the Outer Banks, that's like the major triangle, historic triangle of our country. I mean, because the Lost Colony was first there, you know, that's a big thing down there. Bunch of different things. But anyways, this story, The Sea Hag, it's really interesting. It talks about a family, sailor. He wanted to, there's called this root. It's a bush. It's called Yupin bush. And it grows in abundance down there at that time near Portsmouth Village. And that's how a lot of sailors made their living, is by shipping this out, because I guess they used to make tea of this herb. I'm going to have to look more into that, but that's what they did in colonial times. This took place. So there's a sailor, and he had, his wife died, and he had a lovely little daughter. And he wanted to make sure she was taken care of while he was out on the seas, you know, delivering things and whatever. So he married this one woman, and she had two stepdaughters. She had two daughters, and they were just, and the story goes, this woman, she was just a nag. She was just evil and evil-hearted and just mean generally, and she just drove the sailor out of his mind. He just had to leave. So eventually what he did is he just gave all his money away to the sea person, you know, this old hag he married, just because he thought his daughter could be raised by her, and he regretted afterwards. He just gave all his money to her, and he just ran off. But he gave the money to her, providing the fact that she would take care of his only daughter, only child. Thing is, this child was absolutely beautiful in soul and persona. She was just absolutely beautiful. When each year passed, she would just be more and more beautiful, and she just had a very good, sweet nature. But not so for the mother or the sea hags. It's kind of like a Cinderella story, kind of like. She was really evil, you know, very nasty, just nasty, nasty. All the dirty, nasty things that she could think of, she did to this child. But this child never took it in stride, never took it. You know, she was just like, this is my life, I gotta deal with it. You know, Hold on, my daughter's calling. Oh, geez, you know. Always one of those things. I'll be right back. I'll be right with you, folks. Just give me a minute. Here, Lily. Be careful, it's hot. Okay. Like I said, sorry about that. You know, kids. Anyway, like, where was I? Okay, yeah, what happened is the stepmother, you know, she just was really pissy to this little girl, and what she did, she just treated this, I guess the girl's name's Veronica, and she treated her very, very terrible, very terrible. So she pampered her own children, of course, you know, like evil stepmothers usually do, and she ended up spending all the money on needless things for her children, you know, jewelry and everything else, and it just she ran out of money. And what happened was she was like, well, I'm just so sick of this. You know what I mean? She just got sick of taking care of her. It came to the point where she was running out of money, and she just got sick and tired of taking care of this little girl, Veronica. So she went, as there's a fledgling witch down in Portsmouth Village, and she wanted her to get rid of her. She just she went to the witch and was like, I got this stepchild, I hate her, I don't know what to do with her, I just want to get rid of her. So the fledgling witch, she was unable to arrange this thing that she wanted her to do herself. I'm thinking she was a white witch, and she just didn't want to be involved in curses and hexes. So but she said in exchange for several gold coins, she went into a trance, and she came out with a plan, and it was a very evil one in mind and purpose. On the southern end of Portsmouth, there was an ancient witch. They called her the Sea Hag, and she was a very powerful, mighty witch. Very, very, very much so. And this is where I say where she sounds like Baba Yaga to me. She's a German, you know, she was the German goddess, or no, I think Russian, maybe, Baba Yaga. Well, anyways, what she did was, she was very, like, the dark epitome of the crone. She was just a dark woman, you know, and everybody was scared of her, you know, and everything else. I guess this woman was known to, instead of her riding on a, you know, broom like the typical witch people say we do, whatever, she's supposedly 100 years old, and she was driven out of Finland by the town folk, so she, by a brave priest, and she just went back to the New World to practice her profession or whatever. Well, anyways, what they're going to do is, in this story, Baba Yaga, or I want to call her Baba Yaga, but she's not. She's called the Sea Hag. Instead of riding a broom, she rode a long steering oar from a whaling vessel that she sunk with all hands on deck. You know, she's supposed to be a really bad person. I guess, let's see which, I mean, the thing didn't have power itself. Listen to this, though. You know, the flying ointment, this is their mixture of flying ointment they said the Sea Hag used. The compound was a mixture of deadly nightshade, monk's bane, and hemlock, and a dash of poison ivy and co-witch vine. You know, I was like, okay, a lot of this stuff's really poisonous. I don't know if you'd want to rub it on your skin. But that would make her be able to fly. Oh, yeah. And you stir the concoction, rendered liquid fat from some frogs and scorpions, which she kept for the purpose. That would finish the brew. Well, anyways, Sea Hag was known to be really hungry. She'd eat children, as well as the luckless seamen who was lured to their doom by where she lived. And when she couldn't eat that, she would eat from the sea. She'd eat porpoises, fish, crabs, stingrays, and sharks. And this was just, you know, she's supposed to be evil witch bitch. You know what I mean? You know, the dark side. But, you know, I'll do another video on what I believe anyways. Veronica, one night, they had a plan. The one fledgling witch, she devised a plan to send her to the sea witch, because they let all the candles out. She summoned 3 girls. The evil stepmother did, and she put the plan into action that they plotted against poor Veronica. And what they did was, she bid them they had to card and spin and weave some wool into a fine woolen cloth for approaching winter season. For this task, she allowed them only 1 candle. Just as the girls were getting into their task, the candle by which they were working and every other candle in the house went out. And you know, there's an old story. I found it in Circle Round. It's a lovely book if you're planning to raise your children pagan. It's about Baba Yaga, like I said. And they had no light to go by to weave with. And back then, you know, if you didn't have electricity in your houses, you had to use candlelight or oil lamps or whatever else. And if that went out, you were kind of out of luck. I mean, you could run to the neighbors, but, you know, if you're lucky, you would get some coal. If not, you know, what would you do, right? So they got really mean, and they blamed all this on Veronica. And they said to Veronica, you know, steps of time. Now we must do what you have. Now you must undo what you have done. You must go to the Sea Hag at her home, the dark south woods, and beg her for light, so we will not all perish from your young fault.
Mommy.
What?
I'm sorry, I'm like in the middle of your video, but can I watch WWE tonight?
I don't care. Go. Okay, Veronica was terrified because she heard the stories of the sea witch, and she did not want to deal with her. She was like, oh my god, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But the one thing I forgot to mention about this is before her father left, he gave her a little enchanted doll to protect her and to keep her safe from another good witch in the area. Yeah, you can, just don't interrupt, like your brother has. Jeez Louise, I'm trying to do stuff and I can't never do it, you know? Well, anyways, she said, well, you have to go. So the only thing that she grabbed was on her search, because she knew she had to do this, because, you know, this spell that the sea witch, the fledgling witch gave her would not let any light into the house until she performed this task. Whatever, no matter what they tried. So, okay, what happened was she went off with her, you know, she went off sobbing. She went through the darkness, and she told the doll what had happened, and the doll whispered, do not fear, in a musical voice, keep me in your pocket, you know what I mean, and no harm will come to you. So Veronica tucked the little doll in her pocket, and she stumbled out through the stumbled to the south part of town, the south woods, where nobody ever went, because that's where supposedly the Sea Hag lived. She went night and day. She went through there, you know, searching, wandering for the Sea Hag's place. And she drank dew accumulated from leaves, you know, the giant live oaks, and she bravely journeyed on, you know. Once she got to the house, this is the thing, it was, you know, pretty gruesome. I guess it's just like Baba Yaga's old house was supposed to be in the other story I was talking about. I'm probably confusing you, I'm sorry. But anyways, it was a small schooner turned upside down, and it was made into her living space. And around the area of her house, before you could go in, there was a gate, and there were on top of the gate, on top of the stakes from the gate, the fence around her house was skulls of all her victims. Well, what happened was, and it was, you know, they illuminated, of course, from the magic of, you know, the evil sea hags thing. Well, what happened was, the fence was pretty nasty. It was, she had to go through, she had to put her hand through a jaw that was made the fence to get in her house. She had to put her hand in the jaw, you know, to open it up. And she was scared because she thought, you know, this jaw, I think from was shark. It was just, you know, very scary. And the fence was made out of the bones and stuff of all the sea sailors that she ate and or drowned or whatever. Well, anyways, what she did, she had an enormous black cat that rode with her all the time. And once she got up there, she said, ho ho, Mr. Cat smells the blood of a human. Come out, wherever you are, I'll call down the lightning to char your bones. Okay. And once she got there, Veronica, you know, went to the doorknob. It was razor sharp teeth, you know, it was circled the doorknob. She put her hand in there. She said, come in, child, or I'll give you to Will. Will was the wild black cat that she had with her. It was her companion, for familiar, I guess. You know what I mean? But she picked her teeth with the tail of a stingray, because, you know, they have to embellish the tail a bit. Well, the girl said, she goes, please may I have, you know, she, you know, wanted to finish her quest because she was scared out of her wits. She asked the sea hag, please may I have some, which, you know, sobbing and wrenching her hands, the young one told the hag the purpose of her quest. How all the lights in her stepmother's house had gone out and could not be relighted, and how she was sent for the flame that would rekindle it. I don't know, human, said the witch. I've had a wonderful stingray stew, and I'd eat you up right now. I'm going to bed now, but when I wake up at dusk, I'll be hungry again before I start my day's work. You will find food in my house. Sweep and clean my house until it shines like the moon, and prepare me a meal before I wake. Maybe I won't eat you. In addition, out on the beach there was over 100 trout that Weil and I scared ashore. Gather up the fish and clean them and scale them, and then have them ready for me to pickle. Do all this, and I will let you live another day. So what happened was, Veronica was so scared, she didn't know what to do. She tried to run away, but she found that she could not open the gate, and the fence was too tall for her to climb. Defeated, she went tearfully into the witch's house. As Sea Hag had said, there were plenty of food. The girl found some whole hams, a barrel of flour, several kinds of fish and shellfish, witch's cabbage, and other many things. Sinking upon the floor in despair, she wondered how she was ever going to accomplish this inhuman feat, you know, to be able to stay alive. You know, so she reached in her pocket, you know, to find a handkerchief for her tears, and came in contact with her magic doll. In all the stress of her journey and the terror of the encounter with the sea hag, she had quite forgotten about the little doll. The little doll she now talked to, she told her about her despair and her predicament, and the doll said, never fear, chimed the little doll, and her tiny eyes sparkled with kindly, reassuring light. Lie down over there on that bunk and get a day's rest. I will attend to the witch's demands. So the girl said thank you gladly to her doll, because she was just a sweet person like that. And she fell right to sleep. When she woke up in the morning, she found everything done. So she slipped the doll back into her pocket, and the witch's bedroom door flew open, and the old crone emerged. She said, everything's done, child, quivered a hag in her crooked voice. Then she saw the table pot, you know. She was, a speck of dirt, she could find nothing. Well, I won't eat you just yet, she said. I've got a night's work to do, and if you want to stay alive another day, you must do some more things for me. So she said, you have to cook me a meal that was even bigger than the last one, and have it already on the table for me to eat in the morning. She said, in the backyard you will find 50 barrels of corn. Grind it all up with the hand grinder and have them piled high in a neat row. Do this, and maybe I will delay using your bones to repair my fence. And after eating the tremendous meal, she flew out of the door with her cat, So, once again, the doll did all her chores for her, you know what I mean? And once the old hag came, she said, out on the beach, she snarled, there are 200 yards of fish nets hung out to dry. Some nasty sharks got into them and tore great holes, and many of the floats sinkers are missing, so that they are almost no use at all. Mend all the holes and repair the other damage, and cook me another snack like the others, and once again I will spare your life. Upon the return, the sea witch found that everything was done, and she called Veronica, Girl, you make me nervous. I've given you tasks that no human could perform, and yet you've done them all. Your magic is greater than mine, and I don't want to be around you anymore. It can't be that witch punk in Portsmouth. She's not even being good enough or bad enough to change the direction of the wind or cause a ship to sink, much less do the things you've done. You say your evil stepmother and your ugly stepsisters want light from me. All right, I'll give them light. So saying, she went to her backyard, chose a large white skull from a pile, impaling the skull on a sharp Yupin stick. She handed it to Veronica and ordered her to be gone and never to come back if she valued her life. Now the fire in the eyes was peculiar skull did not fade away with the increasing of the day, but continued to burn steadily into the bright orange glow. Okay, grasping the stick tightly, the mystified girl carried this grisly burden to the gate, which opened wide for her, and she ran into the forest. And she went, suddenly into, the woods. But she was so scared with the skull and everything else, she decided, I'm going to bury this. I'm scared. I don't want this. You know what I mean? So, but suddenly, when she went to bury the thing, a deep voice came from the skull, and it said, little girl, it said, do not bury me. I am Lars Larson, a Finnish sea captain. The sea hag had caused to drown many years ago. I will not rest until I have done her bidding. Too scared now to do anything about discarding the skull stick, Veronica pushed through the thick forest. It seemed the underbrush, and she just kept on running. She was so terrified. She just wanted to get home. So she finally went to her stepmother's house. The entire house was dark. There was no light anywhere, and she opened the door and walked in the house. She was surprised to be greeted by the three ugly women with cordial smiles and greetings. The stepmother had gotten more than she bargained for from the apprentice witch. Ever since that first night, no candle or lamp would stay lit in the house. Even little lighted candles borrowed from neighbors would gutter out as soon as she brought into the dwelling. And no fire would burn in the stove. So I guess, she got more than she asked for. So Veronica told her, hey, look, I brought this back. See what you commanded. And they began to laugh, light from the sea hag as they commanded. They began to laugh and clap their hands in joy. Give me the light. Give me the light this instant, begged the stepmother, grabbing the stick topped by the skull with the glowing eyes. Just as her hand closed around the stick, the light in the eye sockets blazed with an intense flare right at the stepmother. With a cry of pain, she jumped aside, but the skull turned on its stick until its eyes were again aimed at the old woman, and this time it burst into flame. She was entirely consumed by the fire, and where she once stood lay a pile of ash. So she was burned alive. What?
Guess what?
What?
Oh, you can make me bump my head.
You'll be fine. Kids, I tell you. Can't do anything. Alright. Well, what happened was next, after it turned on the old woman, it turned its heads towards two stepsisters, and it burned her. Them both, to smaller piles of ash. And then the light went out. But every candle in the house lit it up and filled the light with warm, cheery glow. So Veronica was rid of her tormentors, and the sea hag proved conclusively that she's far more powerful than the Portsmouth witch, who disappeared from the vicinity shortly thereafter. Some people say that the sea witch got rid of her in order to cut down any possible competition. Veronica buried the skull on a stretch of deserted ocean beach where Captain Lars could hear his beloved sea breaking on the shore. She found a good home with a childless Portsmouth couple and more than earned her keep by keeping with the housework and the other chores. In time, she married a fine young man who was a commercial fisherman, and they were happy. They lived happily together. Okay, and some people say that the marvelous catches of fish they made were the work of the little magic doll her father had left her. Okay, so Veronica, till the day she died, she kept that doll safe and secure. You know, nothing ever happened to the little doll. The belief that tiny magic doll is still in one of the abandoned houses left in the town of Portsmouth, and it is responsible for all the wonderful things that have happened from time to time in the secluded portion and all of the shores of the Outer Banks. So, guys, I know this was kind of a long video. I'm sorry, but I thought that was a cute little story. Like I said, it had a lot of familiarity to me. It's kind of slash Baba Yaga slash Cinderella story for you. So I hope that made your day, and if you ever get a chance to go to the Outer Banks, just take it. Just go, because I think you'd love it, you know. But if not, just chill out in Pennsylvania. We got a lot of weird stuff, and on the way, our 14-hour drive, which was terrible, by the way, because the kids were all like, whatever, but it was all right. I got to see Reese Hollow about one of the videos I made. I think it was the Hexencuff one. But yeah, I got to see it. It was pretty cool. I wanted to go, but we were on the road. It was like 9, 10 o'clock by then, and I was just like, the kids are with us. I just didn't want to bother. But if you get down that way, let me know what you find. So, hope you enjoyed my little video. I know it was long. Sorry, I'll try to make them shorter next time. But blessed be, and take care, and, you know, try to go find some strange and unusual stuff for yourself. You know, keep life magical. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
But one time I found a strange